All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a whole bunch of good crypto news stuff for you. And the first thing that I want to talk about is GrayScale's GBTC fund is expiring on February 3rd, which is today. And the important thing about that is that throughout history of Grayscale so far, every time that the Grayscale funds expire, all of the investors pour money back into it and re-raise the premium, and the price increases. I actually made a video about this not too long ago. There was a Hacker Noon article on it where somebody had done research all the way back a year and a half when Grayscale started the BTC fund, and that every time those lock periods end, Bitcoin's price actually starts to increase. And just before it ends is the consolidation phase where it's in a low price. Now, this has been 9 times throughout history, and previously Grayscale had 1-year lockup periods, and they since changed those to 6-month lockup periods. That last lockup period was something like December 26th, and there was no unlocking periods in between that. And the writer of the article actually stated that he actually wrote it around December 26th or so, and stated that January and the beginning of February and the end of December, etc., was going to be a pretty laggy period in terms of the price of Bitcoin, and they were certainly right. Now we start to see the prices a little bit increasing. We can see $36,000 Bitcoin, $1,543 Ethereum, which is an all-time high for that as well. So I'll show you the chart as well. So Bitcoin may have traded sideways for much of the last month thanks to Grayscale, but the status quo will soon change. According to data from on-chain analytics resource CryptoQuant, the price premium of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust had just hit its lowest since April 2019. Grayscale has made the headlines frequently this year thanks to record BTC purchases and record demand. But despite inflows, BTC USD has not continued to gain. But as February begins, the trust premium is around $6.50, having previously been as high as $40 over the course of its existence. This historically coincides with meandering price direction, while large premiums equal large upside moves for Bitcoin. In late December, a dedicated article in technology magazine Hacker Noon explained the phenomenon as being tied to the release of GBTC shares, which have been subject to a customary lockup. Once they are released, Bitcoin tends to shoot higher as customers put their profits back into BTC, while the time preceding such events corresponds to a lack of price action. So he says, what's important to know is once these higher prices and premiums are realized after an unlocking price goes on to consolidate. This lets the premium shrink again before its next unlocking event. With the next unlocking set for February 3rd, anticipation should be building for a continuation of the Bitcoin bull run. It says this void enables premiums to shrink again, just like the 9 times before. The article continued, correctly predicting the price behavior for the second half of January, and it'll keep shrinking until the next unlocking. Because of this, I expect the price to either consolidate or sag. So basically that was written December 26th or so, and it was totally correct. So that quote is from a little over a month ago. So now we can see the chart that they had, and it was basically, this isn't 9 times back completely, but it's good enough. And you can see here that every time there was an unlocking period, the price goes up, and just before those unlocking periods, you can see the price, consolidating. And so we have that next unlocking period today, and we can already kind of see those prices starting to increase. But usually it's a little while, a few weeks or a month after, when they really start kicking in. But that's that's basically the gist of it. So throughout history, since Grayscale has been investing into BTC, this has been true, as the article goes back to state that all the 9 times so far that they have been unlocked, there is significant price movement after that. In fact, one of the unlocking periods was the summer of 2019, when Bitcoin reached like $13,000 for whatever reason, and then moved on back down after that, once the price starts to consolidate. So it's important to understand that just before the unlocking period is usually a pretty laggy period for Bitcoin, and the price is going down. We had 41,000, and it kind of sagged into the 31,000 sort of era for a little while there, and now we're starting to move back up following this unlocking period. But moving on to some different news here, 1,400 sign up for MicroStrategy's corporate Bitcoin buying bootcamp. So basically, MicroStrategy, the intelligence firm, has enjoyed 135% gains on the $1 billion in Bitcoin it purchased last year. So I think it actually purchased a little bit more than that. It was like something like 1.3 or 1.4 billion. So imagine all these other corporations, investment firms, etc., seeing these gains, 135% gains. In just a year, essentially. A lot of companies are going to be getting in on this on 2021. I think more investment firms are going to be getting in on it eventually as well, especially when there's a Bitcoin ETF eventually. So leading the global business intelligence firm MicroStrategy is hosting an online seminar this week to explain the legal considerations for firms seeking to integrate Bitcoin into their business and reserves. So the tweet says, if you are interested in the legal consideration firms face while integrating Bitcoin into their corporate strategy, you are not alone. We have professionals from more than 1,400 firms joining us tomorrow for this discussion. There is still time for your legal team to attend. So they're basically doing a How We Did It seminar. The seminar will take place on February 3rd and February 4th. The first day will feature presentations from Saylor, the firm's president and CFO, along with representatives of legal firms specializing in digital assets. The topics discussed will include strategies for incorporating Bitcoin into treasury reserves and relating questions regarding accounting, tax, legal, and auditing considerations for firms who pursue this strategy. So it's likely that most of the viewers watching this don't have some kind of gigantic corporation that's going to be buying Bitcoin, but if you own Bitcoin and they're buying Bitcoin, then that's certainly good. And I think 2021 is going to be quite the wild year, as a lot of firms, investment firms, corporations, what have you, are all going to be seeing these Bitcoin gains, and how more and more companies are starting to get in on this, and they're going to want to get in on it as well. So moving on here, Jeff Bezos steps down crypto curious Andy Jassy to become the new Amazon CEO. So Amazon announced today that founder and CEO Jeff Bezos is planning to step down as CEO, and Amazon Web Services CEO Andy Jassy, who oversaw Amazon's crypto product offerings, will replace him. In his letter to employees, Bezos said that he would be transitioning to the role of executive chair of the Amazon board, where he would focus my energies and attention on new products and early initiatives. So Bezos also noted that Jassy will be an outstanding leader and has my full confidence. The crypto world's attention now turns to Jassy's history when it comes to embracing blockchain's technology, as it could be an indication of the long-term crypto strategy of the world's third most valuable company by market capitalization. Jassy offered a mixed review of blockchain technology and its applicability to Amazon's business in 2017. In a statement to Amazon reInvent conference, he expressed that doubt that blockchain could be used for more than a distributed ledger, but also said he and his team were personally interested. However, company policy dictated that they don't build technology just because we think it's cool. He did leave the door open for future exploration, however, saying we are very intrigued by what customers are ultimately going to do there. So this guy is a little bit interested in blockchain and stuff. It's not incredibly bullish, but if Amazon ever adopted Bitcoin or something like that, it would be incredible news. I mean, it would be bigger news than the PayPal explosion in price. Bitcoin was something like $10,000, and then the PayPal news came out, and boom, it was $15,000 within like a week or something like that. So that was huge news, and it helped pump the price of Bitcoin. So moving on here, Robinhood CEO to reportedly testify before a U.S. House committee over GameStop. So Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev will reportedly testify before the United States House Financial Services Committee over the firm's role in the volatile trading of GameStop and other volatile stocks. According to a report by the American political publication Politico, Tenev is expected to participate in a virtual hearing headed by Representatives Maxine Waters. Politico's report cited anonymous people familiar with the matter. Waters officially announced the Financial Services Committee plans to hold a GameStop-related hearing on February 18th entitled Game Stopped? Who wins and loses when short sellers, social media, and retail investors collide? The hearing will focus on recent market volatility issues involving GameStop and other stocks. It says, I'm concerned about whether or not Robinhood restricted the trading because there was collusion between Robinhood and some hedge funds that were involved with this, Waters reportedly said. The announcement did not specify what witnesses will participate in the hearing. Robinhood has not officially announced Tenev's participation so far. The firm did not immediately respond to Cointelegraph's request for comment. So basically, Robinhood in a lot of trouble. And this just kind of goes back to the fact that I think a lot of the Wall Street bets people are moving over to Bitcoin. And the reason I think that is because Bitcoin subreddit was increased by 200,000 subscribers in just 4 days, which led it to 2.2 million total subscribers on the Bitcoin subreddit, which is interesting because that subreddit, I think, was created in something like 2013. So that means it took 7 or 8 years to accumulate 2 million subscribers to the Bitcoin subreddit and only 4 days to increase by 200,000. So with this whole Wall Street bets fiasco going on, GameStop is now super crashing. Robinhood basically prevented everybody from continuing to buy. There was some other exchanges as well that did that, and you could only sell it. And then they were like, okay, you can buy 1 share of it per day, which was absolutely ridiculous. And in its sense has fallen significantly. So I think a lot of them are starting to realize that no matter what you try to do in Wall Street, now, of course, they did roll over Wall Street quite a bit. They cost them $70 billion by going long on GameStop while basically Wall Street was going short on it, and then forced Wall Street to essentially buy GameStop stock at like $300 or $400 when they definitely didn't want to, by basically fulfilling their shorts at a later period when the price was much higher. But since we can see that there's clear collusion with Robinhood and these various exchanges, I'm sure they got a call and said, hey, you need to stop this immediately. Only allow sell orders. We're your overlords. You're going to stop this, because I'm sure Robinhood is owned by such and such and such and such. And people realize that this can be manipulated even more so than crypto, which is a pretty outrageous thing to say. And that if you go over to crypto and you start pumping something or you start dumping something, most of the time nobody ever stops you. I don't ever recall anybody stopping anybody from pumping or dumping crypto, except for when Coinbase goes down, when Bitcoin goes up $100. But I think that's just Coinbase and their crappy technology. So, moving on, MicroStrategy in the news again. MicroStrategy adds to Bitcoin Trove with another $10 million purchase just before their MicroStrategy conference on buying Bitcoin. So the business intelligence company added 295 Bitcoin to its hoard per Tuesday filing. This marks the second $10 million purchase this year after MicroStrategy bought 314 BTC less than 2 weeks ago. And their most recent buys were executed at an average price of $33,810. And I believe the last one that was a couple weeks ago was at something like $31,000. So they definitely bought the dip. MicroStrategy now holds 71,079 Bitcoin. Moving on here to CoinMarketCap, we are over that $1 trillion market cap again, $1,091 billion to be exact there, 36,540 Bitcoin, Ethereum at the all-time high. But now that we are entering the end of a lock period, we'll have to see, or an unlocking period we're at with February 3rd and all. We'll have to see where the price of Bitcoin goes after this. So according to the Hacker Noon article about the correlation of the Bitcoin price and the unlocking periods of GrayScale, it's basically, you basically can't argue it. The price indeed increases every time that there's an unlocking period with GrayScale. And then, of course, it does go up and then comes back down. So it does consolidate eventually. So we'll see a run. For example, if Bitcoin goes to $45,000 or $50,000 in the next month or so, it's likely that it's going to stop there. I would imagine that Bitcoin will do what it usually does at $50,000. There will probably be a lot of sell orders, as people like to psychologically stack sell orders at 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, and individual 1,000 increments as well. I mean, you can simply look at any exchange and look at the order book way above you And you'll notice that there's always a lot of sell orders at those very even amounts at 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 sort of deal. And I bet there will be just an unbelievable amount at $50,000. So if we do go up because of this unlocking period, I believe that we will end up going to probably to 50,000 and then dumping back down from there, and it'll probably dump back to 41,000 or 40,000 or something like that, which will be a great time to pick up more. If you really want to, if you're really interested in trading or something like that, it might be a good idea to be watching the RSI and the charts and things like that to see where it really starts to fizzle out. But the lockup ends February 3rd today, and the price should continue moving upward from there. If history repeats itself as it did 9 times before this, with every unlocking period, we do see a significant price in the increase of Bitcoin in the market as a whole. But that's all I have for you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. That helps me out a lot. Social media in the description below. Memberships are active on the channel, so join up. Get yourself a cool little badge when you comment on the channel, so I don't think you're FBC 13 spam. But as usual, I'll see you guys next time.